Hi everybody, it is Budget Pumpkin and thank you for joining us today. If you are a new subscriber, welcome. We hope you'll stay around, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for being here. Today we are going to start a Q&A series. So I've had a lot of really good questions on the comments in my YouTube videos. And there's a lot of them that I want to address, but it's kind of like more than a little blip that I can type out. So the first one that I want to address is getting 1 month ahead. And we're going to talk about why. Because if you don't know why, then you don't really see any value in doing it. So we're going to talk about why we want to get a month ahead. And then we are going to discuss the how we get a month ahead. And the how, there are a couple different ways to get a month ahead that I know of that seem very practical to me and make sense in my brain. So I'm going to go ahead and go over those with you. So if that's something that you're interested in hearing about, please stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to Budget Pumpkin. My name is Wendy and welcome to my channel. On this channel, we're going to talk about things like budgeting, cash stuffing, planning, dealing with debt, savings challenges, and everything that you could want to know about budgeting. And you're going to be with me on my journey to become debt-free. So if this is something that you want to look into, please tap subscribe and like and comment on this video, and thank you for being here.
Okay, so let's talk about why. Why do we want to be 1 month ahead? And really the biggest reason, there's two really good reasons I can think of it. Number one is for cash flow. So basically, when you're a month ahead, you take the money from 1 month and use it to pay for the next month's bills. So say our September income, if we were a month ahead, would be covering all of our October bills. So going into October, if we're using September's money, we already know in advance what we have to spend and what we have to budget. So when you have any sort of income that varies, so say you're an hourly paid person, but maybe you got short hours at work or something like that, it's a little bit easier to budget. Now, if you are, a salaried employee, you know how much you're going to be making each month. It's a little bit different. And things like overtime and stuff like that, it's easier to account for. And two, this is kind of what we're leading into, is planning purposes. So my husband, and I talked about in my last couple of videos, he had to have an emergency eye surgery. Now we are not a month ahead, so we are counting on the money that we bring in each week, or each paycheck. We are paid bi-weekly. We're counting on that money to fund what we're spending in the current month. And so he actually missed, it would be 4.5 shifts. He works 12-hour shifts, and he typically works 3 shifts a week. So he missed 4.5 shifts. I'm not exactly sure how much paid time off he has. He only started his job in like mid-May. So he doesn't have much personal time accrued. So we're going to end up having to burn through all of his personal time to get it covered. And I did see he had emergency eye surgery. He is okay. His eye is okay. And everything went very well according to plan. So I want to throw that out there. But now that we know that he's okay, we have to kind of get to the business of planning. So he missed those 4.5 shifts. One of those shifts was actually going to be an extra shift where we were going to try and start using that money to start getting ahead and start paying off our debt. So now I don't know what we're going to be getting when he gets paid on Fridays. So we're kind of, it almost causes a little bit of anxiety. I guess number 3 is that if you're in it all, an anxious person, The anxiety of not knowing. That's one thing that really gets me, like when I don't know, when I don't have a plan, that causes me anxiety. And one of the ways I control that is by planning, journaling, things like that. So it lowers my anxiety to know what we're going to be able to spend in a month. So that's actually a very good number 3 reason as to why you want to do this. If you have any kind of anxiety over money whatsoever, being a month ahead is going to help you better control your finances. So if we were a month ahead, I would know, okay, September's money is covering October. What we make in October is going to cover in November, and we can make a better plan as to how we're going to budget our money. So say we spent something, before we knew he had this emergency, we spent something kind of frivolous. If we spent something frivolously on the first paycheck of the month, not knowing that we're going to have this emergency in the second paycheck of the month, we're going to know in advance what we can spend each month. So this is a big, huge why as to why we want to get 1 month ahead. And if there's any other reasons that you can think of why you might want to get a month ahead, please drop them in the comments. Okay. And now we're going to go with how. Okay, how do we get a month ahead? There's two methods of getting ahead, but first of all, you have to decide what is 1 month ahead to you. Okay, so let me grab my budget. So this is our basic monthly budget, right? So if I look at our budget, we're used to having an income about $6,400. That's what makes our budget work based on our income and our expenses. Some people will say, I have $2,455 in the bank, I'm a month ahead. I'm ahead on all of my bills. And other people say, well, this plus this, now I'm ahead because that's what I have to pay out. I define being 1 month ahead is covering the entire amount of income. And that way, if for some reason something happens, we don't have a lifestyle change. Okay? Because if something happened to cause us to lose money for a month, I would at least be able to live normally for this month. And then if we had to, we could cut back and stretch this money out longer. If we had like an unexpected job loss or a sickness, anything like that. So my definition of a month ahead is always going to be what we're bringing in on a monthly basis to make our budget work. So for me, that's going to be $6,400. That number is going to look different to you. It's going to look different to everybody. But right now, that's what it is. Now, if we didn't have all of our credit card debt, we could still function in a month with, $1,900 less. That would be okay. But this is what we're looking at right here. Okay, and that's how I define it. And when I say a month ahead here, this is what I mean. And then other people may define it differently, but this is my way. Because I want to make sure that we don't have a lifestyle change. So for me, it is all income to not have a lifestyle change. Okay, so that's how we define it. Now, how are we going to do it? And like I mentioned, there are two methods. Now, method number 1 is going to work regardless of how you are paid. So we have people who are paid monthly, bi-monthly. I actually had a job where I was paid on the 15th and the last day of the month. And then we see people with bi-weekly pay, which is how my husband and I are paid. And then we see people with weekly pay. So those are pretty much the four ways people are paid that I think are the most common. Of course, you could be freelance or something like that, and that's kind of a different conversation, is how to manage your finances when you have a variable income. Okay. The first method is going to work for any pay type that you have, whether you're monthly, bi-monthly, bi-weekly, or weekly. So the first one is saving. Okay. If you are going to save it, so like us, our magic number for the month that we need to make is $6,400. Okay, and then you need to divide that by whatever you're comfortable with saving per month. So 12. So basically whatever you want to make divided by how long you want to take to make it. And 6,400 divided by 12 is $533.33. So I would say like 535. I'd like to round up. So you would need to save $535 per month. Okay, and in 1 year, then you would have enough money in your bank, then you could take that, use that to pay your bills for the 1 month, and then you would be a month ahead, where September is paying for October, October pays for November, November pays for December, so on and so forth. The other way, and I don't know what other people call this, but I kind of call it the paycheck method. Okay, now this works with bi-weekly and weekly paid employees, right? Because if you are a weekly paid employee, you get 52 checks per year, right? And if you take 52 and divide it by 4, okay, you get 13. Okay, so what you do is on a weekly paid method, 52 weeks. So in a 52-week paid method, 1 month equals 4 weeks. So what happens is when you're paid weekly, 4 times a year, you have what's called a magic month, where you get 5 checks in a year, or I'm sorry, 5 checks in a month. So if you only budget 4 weeks, 4 checks per month, that next check, you move it to pay the next month's bills whenever you have a magic month. And after you've had your magic months, where you're pushing that bonus paycheck forward, you're eventually going to have a month ahead after you've done that for 4 times. The same thing, and this is for weekly. Bi-weekly works kind of the same. Bi-weekly, okay. You get 26 paychecks, or 26 weeks of pay, or 26 checks. And when you're bi-weekly, 1 month equals 2 paychecks. Again, when you're paid bi-weekly twice a year, you have a month where you get 3 paychecks. And so I'm going to show you with the calendar how this works. And this is the method that I'm using. And then I am saving an extra $50 every paycheck to get a month ahead, also just for a little bit of extra money. But this is how it's going to work. Let me grab this. Now, if you're paid bi-weekly, like on the days that I was paid on October 7th. My next check is this Friday the 21st. And I realize this is a little bit hard to see. So my paycheck on the 7th covers everything up to here. My paycheck on the 21st covers up to my next paycheck on November 4th. This covers everything like up to the 18th, so on and so forth. And mind you, I'm budgeting 1/2 of month's bills. You start to get ahead. So now December for me is a magic month. So December 2nd, and December covers the first half of the month. December 16th covers the second half. Okay, so here this is my 2023 budget planner, and I thought it was really cute. They had this pumpkin theme. This is an Erin Condren. It is a monthly planner, and in between the monthly pages it has lined pages. So I'm kind of writing my own budget planner in here and trying to see how it works for me. And then I'll probably end up writing one of my own because I journal more and this works better for me. So anyway, our December 30th check, right? That's our bonus check. So this is going to cover the first half of January. And if you're paid weekly and you have a magic month, so if you're paid weekly, you should have a magic month in December, right? Because there's 5 weeks. This check here would pay for your first quarter of January. So you kind of do the same thing if you're paid weekly, but you go in quarters instead of halves. So the second half of January's bills are going to be covered with the January 13th check. January 27th is going to cover half of February, and February 10th is going to cover the other half. February 24th is going to cover half of March. And then March 10th will cover the other half of March. March 24th will cover half of April. And then April 7th will cover the other half. And this is where I mark all my paychecks in my binder, and then I'm still kind of working on this one. April 21st paycheck is going to move forward into May. And then May 5th paycheck will cover the next half of May. So if you look at it, we have all of May's bills covered by May 5th by this point. May 19th, we're covering half of June's bills. And then June 2nd, we're covering the second half of June's bills. Now, if you're paid on the same days as me, my next paycheck's going to be this Friday. What's the date? The 23rd, I think? No, 21st. 21st. So if you're paid this Friday, October 21st, 2022, you're on the same payday schedule as me. So if we have all of June's bills covered by June 2nd, that means that June 16th and June 30th are going to cover all of July. And then July 14th and 28th, at this point, you are a month ahead. July 14th and 28th, you're going to cover all of August. August 11th and 25th, you're going to cover all of September. September 8th and 22nd, you're going to cover all of October. October 6th and 20th, you're going to cover all of November. November 3rd and 17th, you're going to cover all of December. And then December, this is another magic month, December 1st and 15th, you're going to cover all of January next year. And then this check on December 29th, you're actually going to cover the first half of February. I like this method because sometimes trying to save up all of this money, right? Saving up all this money. So if you use method, and unfortunately, if you're paid monthly or bi-monthly and you're not getting magic months and extra checks, but remember, if you're, if saving up you basically are saving up 1/12 of your income per month, right? So for me, that's $6,400. And if I want to do that in a year, I've got to divide it by 12 months. Okay, and what was it? I think it was, what, $535? $5 per month. Okay. Right now, this is not attainable for us. I've done like, the debt, I've done my debt video, and we'll do debt check-ins at the beginning of each month just to kind of see where we're going. But with the amount of debt that we have right now, for us, saving this $535 a month is not realistic, because I would, even if I was, I would want to put that towards my debt. So paying off the debt is really important. But if we use this method where we only use 2 paychecks in a month, when you're paid bi-weekly, that's naturally going to get you that month ahead. And now, once we get to next year, June, and these paychecks cover, right? So when we get to June, the 16th and the 30th are going to cover July. I will know going, and granted only by like a day, but going into July, I will already know what I can spend and what I can't spend in July. So if your income in any way varies, then you can better plan for that. And again, it's going to reduces my anxiety knowing that I have a plan. It's easier to budget. It's going to be easier to cash stuff, because I'll know in advance what I can stuff and what I can't stuff. So hopefully this wasn't too long of an explanation on how to get 1 month ahead. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop a note in the comments. I love doing Q&A sessions, so hopefully I kind of explain this to you. This is based on me. Of course, your situation would be different. Your paydays may be, different, however you're paid. But hopefully this works for you. And honestly, if you're a monthly or bi-monthly paid employee and you can't save, 1/12 of your monthly income each month, then maybe save, half of that, or a quarter of that, or a third of that, or do some savings challenges and put those savings challenges towards that. There's a lot of ways to get that money, other than just budgeting for it naturally out of your income. So at this point, because we owe so much in debt, we can't lower our income to save that much money per month to put towards a month ahead. So if you stuck with me and you understood, thank you so much. If you liked what you heard, please click subscribe. If you already subscribed, again, thank you so much for hanging out, and we will see you on the next video.